Hello, 5th grade. Today we're on lesson 112. It is found on page 736 in your books. The objectives for lesson 112, find the least common multiple of two numbers. Now I know one of the problems in our lesson today asked you to find the first 6 multiples of 6, which are 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, and 36. Okay, that was part A. Part B, it said find the first 4 multiples of 9. Okay, today we're basically doing that. It's just if it asks you to find the least common multiple of 6 and 9, you find the multiples of 6, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, and 36. You then find the multiples of 9, 9, 18, 27, 36. The least common multiple is the smallest multiple that they have in common. And if we look, 9, 18 matches up. Okay, so that's obviously the least common multiple. 36 is a common multiple, but it's not the smallest one, so it's not the least common multiple. Okay, new concept on page 737. Here we list the first few multiples of 4 and 6. Okay, I'm not going to do that because we did it with 6 and 9. It just says the smallest number that is a multiple of 2 or more numbers is called the least common multiple. The letters LCM, you see the letters LCM? It's just an acronym for least common multiple. It says find the least common multiple of, or LCM, for 6 and 8. Okay, example number 1. The least common multiple of 6 and 8. Okay, so first we have to find the multiples of 6. 6, 12, 18, 24, and you can go on and on and on. 8, 16, 24. Okay, now if I didn't find the least common multiple in the first few, I'd just keep going. Okay, but you don't have to list 20 multiples of 6 to find the least common multiple of 6 and 8. You actually only have to list the first 4, and it might work with fewer on some numbers and more on other numbers. You just have to keep adding to those multiple lists until you find one that they have in common. Okay? The least common multiple of 6 and 8 is 24, and you'll write the number 24 down on example number 1. Example number 2. We don't have an example number 2, but we do, however, have practice problems. Find the LCM of 2 and 3. Let's do this for example number 2. Okay, 2 and 3. First I'm going to list just one at a time. Okay, 2, the next multiple is 4. 3, the next multiple is 6. 2, 4, 6. The least common multiple of 2 and 3 is 6. You'll write down the number 6 for example 2. Okay, example number 3. Let's do a more difficult one. Example number 3. I guess all the ones they have in there are relatively simple, and that's okay. If they give you easy ones, and I give you really difficult ones, and we can find the really difficult ones, we shouldn't have a problem finding the easier ones. So we're going to do more difficult ones right now. Let's find the common multiple, the least common multiple of 12 and, let's go with 9. Okay? 9, just multiplying it. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 3 is 27. Okay? 12 times 2 is 24. 12 times 3, 36. 12 times 4 is 48. Okay? Now I'm going to multiply 27 until I'm at one of these numbers, I suppose. Okay? 9 times 1, 9 times 2, 9 times 3, 9 times 4 happens to be 36. We've run into our first common multiple. It is the least common multiple of 12 and 9. Okay, it is 36. You can find the least common multiple of any numbers. I mean, eventually you would find a multiple that they had in common. I think as long as they're whole numbers. Okay, if we wanted to try some really crazy one, example 4, write this down for example 4. I don't have anybody to ask for big numbers, so I'm just going to pick 32 and let's go with 48. Okay? Actually, I think this will be a pretty low one. But 32 times 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 2 is 6. Okay? 33 times 3 will be my next multiple. 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9. Okay? 48, the first multiple is 48 times 1 is 48. 48 times 2, 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. I picked a bad one. But the least common multiple of 32 and 48 is 96. And you can write 96 down for example number 4. And that is, let's do one more. Sorry for making you think that we were done. The next one, it says, the denominators of 5/8 and 3/10 are 8 and 10. What is the least common multiple of 8 and 10? Okay, so they gave us some extra information that we aren't going to use right now, but they said the denominators of 5/8, the denominator is 8. Oh boy. The denominator of 5/8 is 8. The denominator of 3/10 is, of course, 10. Okay, and then they say find the least common multiple of 8 and 10. Okay, first off, I'm going to look for a little hint with 10. I know that every multiple of 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, every multiple of 10 will end in 0. So I'm just going to multiply 8 until I get a number that ends in 0. Okay, 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 5 is 40. Okay, I ran into a number that ends in 0. 10, 20, 30, 40. My least common multiple of this number is 40. Now, why did they give it to us in fraction form here? Well, eventually, when we add and subtract fractions, we will need to find common denominators, because remember that you can take 3/10 plus 2/10, but you couldn't add 3/2 plus 2/10. Okay? You need to have common denominators. Well, finding least common multiples is a way to find common denominators. Now, of course, if we wanted to get from 5/8 to a denominator of 40, so we could add or subtract these two numbers, we know how. We multiply by fractions equal to 1. How do you get from 8 to 40? Well, you multiply it by 5. How do we make this fraction equal to 1? We make it 5/5. So, again, this is something that is a little bit more advanced and something that we'll get to in the next week or two. But this is why we need to find the least common multiples. I hope you have a great night. I will see you tomorrow. Get to sleep and rest those eyes so you are prepared to learn.